Welcome to Spotlight for Success by American Book Company. I am Devin Pintosi, your host. We are here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina at the NCRA conference. And we are so excited to have with us our special guest, and that is Carol Tremboth. Very nice to meet you, Carol.
Nice to meet you, too.
All right.
I'm just pleased that I was able at this point to just connect because I am adamant with, like most people who are educators and authors, to connect with other people because it's important for each other, but also for our planet. I guess to begin with, the idea was that we're going to talk about me as an author. And I have written 5 books, and I'm going to hold this up, 5 books about the native water walkers. And I mean the native water walkers who came from the Anishinaabe. The Anishinaabe live up in the upper part of Michigan and Canada. But in Michigan, there were what we call 3 fires, and they were the Ottawa, the Potawatomi, and the Ojibwe. And their chief of the 3 fires told people that he had a vision, and the vision was that we need to take care of the water, or in 30 years we're going to be in big trouble, and very serious trouble. So they asked, what can we do? So a woman by the name of Josephine Mandeman took up the challenge, and she said, we're going to begin water walking, and this was serious water walking. These folks, these native people, have walked now 20,000 miles. I was on the Ohio River Walk. Can you imagine? But what they do is it's like they go to a lake, a river, or waterway, and they go to that area right at the shoreline, and they say sacred words to the water. They say sacred prayers for the water, and they leave their gift of tobacco. And then they begin water walking at least 30, 40, or 50 miles a day. They have 2 vans, and a person will go out, or maybe 3 vans, but they walk for 20 minutes, then it's like leapfrog. They go back and forth, and they keep walking. And again, the idea is connecting with the water, because what they're actually doing on another level is energizing the water. Mm-hmm. So they have walked, the first water walk was around Lake Superior. And my books, in each of these books, always shows a map of their experience of walking, how far they walked around this one, Lake Superior. And when they walk, they connect with a lot of people. And also, they walked Lake Superior 1,372 miles. Then they walked around Lake Michigan. They did it in 2 parts, the upper part of Lake Michigan and then the lower part. And that book is my second book in this series called The Water Walkers. It's called Stepping Stones. The 3rd water walk was around Lake Huron, and that is called Ripples and Waves. The 4th one was around Lake Ontario, and the last one was Lake Erie. They completed the circle of the chain of Great Lakes. Then they had walked down the Mississippi. They began in January and walked for 4 months from Itasca State Park up in Minnesota. I've been there, all the way down to New Orleans. 4 months of walking. And the biggest water walk was from the 4 corners, meaning they had people walking from the Atlantic, Pacific, Hudson Bay, Gulf of Mexico, and what they did was brought the healing waters of the ocean into the heart of North America, which is Lake Superior. So I've been excited to do these books. I'm now at a challenge point. Now that they've walked all these, where do I go next with them? To the big water walks? Maybe a middle school, because there are 2 big characters in these books, which are grandmother and the little girl Mai. Native people do things in 4. So in the first book, you meet up with 4 animals, and she becomes a good water walker. Each book has an element of 4. So moving on, I also wrote a book about Harriet Tubman called Out of Slavery. And this book, it ended up, I was, as an educator, educators have to do 30 hours or 35 hours of continuing education. And when that happens, you're allowed to, explore other areas to do this in. So I went to the National Endowment for the Humanities. I encourage every teacher who is listening to this to do this. Apply. It's very competitive, yes, but in that you will learn so much. But beyond that, they treat you very well. They give you room and board, they feed you, they teach you, and they give you a stipend. And so I was in Missouri because we were talking about the guerrilla warfare that preceded the Civil War. And the instructor at the time, Dr. Neely from the University of Missouri, he at one point told a story. And when he was done, I went in the bathroom, and I couldn't come out because I was crying so hard. The reason why is because I learned about 247 men who were in the battles who were thrown into a mass grave. Now, Americans don't like that, and it really affected me. And I was just crying my head off all the way back from Missouri to Detroit. When I got home, I started and I wrote this chapter 9 called Roses at the Racecourse, because at one point, and people know about this too, that they consider that when they had a parade, this was after Lincoln died, 2 weeks after he died. Most people don't know what happened, but down in Charleston, they had a parade of 10,000 people. And of those 10,000 people, they were led by children. And the Massachusetts 64th, the 1st Black Regiment authorized by Congress, they went around in step, in music, in drumming around the Washington Racecourse. And Harriet Tubman witnessed the battle. So I then read a coffee table book that said Harriet Tubman actually, was there and served Colonel Shaw, who was the leader of the 64th Massachusetts. She served him his last meal. And then I was off. I knew I had to do something big. She's an American icon. It is important at this time to recognize that. And I am a booster for from the people out of Auburn, New York, her hometown, with her family. And they need donations to help keep this going. But hopefully, we've got our fingers crossed that she will end up being on the $20 bill. So beyond that, I do one more thing that I love since I've retired, and that is I'm also a solar system ambassador for NASA. And again, I was out in Utah, and I went to the American Association of School Librarians. And at 10 o'clock in the morning, similar to this, I walked up to a session, and I said, "How did you get to do this?" And she said, "NASA opens up once a year for 1 month in September, a gateway where you can apply. You had to have 5 references and a long, lengthy interview process and application." And my principal said, she says, it was very, very detailed. At any rate, I do come from a family of engineers. My cousin, Richard Hermling, he worked for NASA in Building 32. He was the director of testing all spacesuits, and he was also someone who helped design the spacesuits. The one in the Smithsonian was part of his design. So with that, and I come from a family of engineers. My oldest son's an engineer. My son-in-law is an engineer with Northrop Grumman, who supplies NASA with the rocketry. And also, one more thing, and my middle son is the director, I have to always remember his title, but director of the brand new chip factory out in Phoenix, Anthem, Arizona. Okay. So with all that, I love talking about NASA, and we are coming up to Artemis II. People wonder, what the heck is Artemis II? Well, Artemis was the twin sister of Apollo. Apollo drove the chariot across the sky. All of the people who went to the moon so far have always been from America. They've always been Caucasian, but that is changing. There are 4 astronauts. Reed Wiseman is the commander, but Victor Glover is an African-American man. He is the pilot. 3rd person on the wheel is Jeremy Hansen, first person from Canada going to the moon. 4th person, Christina Cook. Christina Cook was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but her family moved to this area in Durham, and she grew up here and was educated here and got her degrees here. First woman going to the moon. So we no longer call them manned and unmanned. We call them crewed and uncrewed. So we're in for some big surprises. It was March 1st they were supposed to go, but now it will be April 1st, hopefully. And everything has been, they do a wet rehearsal the week before, but they found initially a hydrogen leak, and they thought it was an easy fix, but they pushed it right back to the assembly building and did it. So April 1st is coming, and I hope everyone is on their toes and ready to watch, because this is going to be breathtaking. They have built SLS, which is a Space Launch System. It is a generational rocket. It is a rocket that will take us not only to the moon, it is a rocket that will take us to Mars. And so that is very important. They've already tested the rocket. Everything's fine. So this is with the human family on board this time. By 2030, they expect to be on the moon. On the moon. And they will position themselves on the South Pole because they believe that there is water. They've already sent one of the ejected items to the crater there, and out came a plume 10 miles out of water. So they know there's water there. That's why we're going to the South Pole. But it's a very interesting ride we're all about to take place because this is the generation. Our children and grandchildren will be involved in this, and it's huge. It is the next paradigm that's to come for all of us. So strap yourself in, get your seatbelt on, and be ready for a fantastic ride. It's about to happen.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you. Appreciate it,
Okay.
Carol Tremboth.
It was fun, so please go out
Author.
if you have time. My books are on Amazon. I just love the water walkers. They need to be noticed. Native people need to be noticed. They're the first environmentalists, and Harriet Tubman is an American icon. She too touches all our heart with her courage. But I thank you for taking the time to let me come here and talk, because you never know who's on board.
That's right.
But this reading conference is wonderful. They have a wonderful group of people here that promote writers, authors, and teachers. I'm a teacher of 30 years. All right.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Carol.